monetizable. So I don't know what I've done. I've probably done something wrong.
Well, you should check in to find out where that money is going. Yeah, certainly.
I should.
But yeah, it's funny. Like, I'm probably in a very unique position of having a high subscriber channel that used to be consistent and now isn't, and sort of in the like, hey, I should do something with that channel sort of situation. And I occasionally put unboxings up there and stuff like that, but I haven't been very consistent about it. But I'll be honest, this makes me just not want to bother with it, because I'm like, well, I'm going to lose monetization, which means then I have to build it back up. And I'm going to spend all that time building it back up and not make any money of it. What's the point?
Yeah. It's a really good point. And I'm sure this is going to affect a whole lot of people. I mean, what I always liked about YouTube is it was a relatively low bar, and it got lower over time in the history of the service.
Yeah, right.
Where they were like, well, we want to make it easier and easier and easier for people to get in, and that's where we're going to find these unique voices, this interesting stuff that could turn into the next 20 million follower account, or it could turn into the next really interesting sub-niche on the service, and it doesn't have to all be pranking videos, and it can broaden itself out to be more. And that's why this bums me out, because what this does, I think, in at least the current soup that is YouTube, is it supports the existing, hey, I'm going to go rip an old man's toupee off in the park and film it group,
right.
And doesn't do enough for, say, I mean, I'm sure Bill Duran will be fine, but people like him who are making rad stuff and creating a whole different kind of area of YouTube and broadening its appeal.
I'm not sure about the toupee
motion.
part of your argument, but I get what you're saying.
Stop motion animation bowl maker dude. Who knows? Maybe
that guy, exactly.
Well, the way I'm looking at it is, even if I wasn't on this kind of rebound with my personal channel, if I were starting a channel right now, I would be like, I have to get to 4,000 hours before I can start making money. That means that I'm making a lot of video for free before I can catch on, and so it becomes a longer hobbyist section, and makes me more likely to want to do branded content or something like that if I'm really serious about this. On the other hand, if I go to Twitch, I got to stream for 30 days straight to get an affiliate. Like, boom, and suddenly, and the difference is I have to do this much free content before I start getting paid. I have to do this much free content before starting getting paid. Well, that's less. Even if the numbers, I get what Google's saying. It's like, it's only $100. Like, at 4,000 hours, you're not making that much money yet. It's worth it, to build up to that, because then you'll actually start making some real money. And I get that. But a lot of people are like, yeah, but I don't want to have to wait. I don't want to miss the boat and forget to apply to the partnership program or whatever. So I don't know. I don't think it actually affects a lot of people, to be honest. And I think in general, it is the kind of thing that shouldn't dissuade a lot of people from joining YouTube. So I don't think YouTube's making a horrible mistake. But it's going to leave a few people cold, and like any change, people don't like it. They're like, wait, I used to get money even if it wasn't much. Now I'm getting nothing. I feel ripped off.
Yeah. I have a theory, and this is a little conspiratorial, but one would have to admit, and I don't know if this is a problem for Google or not, or YouTube or not, but it's a dumping ground for video of every kind, of every sort. Like, everybody goes there, puts videos on there. Now, whether you're somebody who's just doing it randomly because you need a place to put it, or you're somebody who's curating a channel and trying to make a business out of it, one way or the other, I forget what the current stats are, but it's just so much video every day, so many files being uploaded at any given time. And maybe they're just trying to cull that a little bit. Maybe they're just trying to scale that back, and it seems weird to discourage it, but when you're the big monster like this, maybe you need to. Maybe they just need to slow down, or maybe they're trying to control the rate.
I think you're absolutely right on the monetization side. I don't think they care about server capacity. I mean, freaking Google's building undersea cables and essentially owns its own internet right now. So it's not capacity, but it's like we have to actually use humans to review advertising right now. And so we could use fewer videos to have to review.
Yeah, I mean that is what they're doing. In effect, whether that's the motivation or not, whether it's got anything to do with that,
they pretty much said, in order to make sure that higher quality videos are available for premium content advertisers, we're changing this program. So I don't think they're denying it.
Well, unrelated, but also giving me hope in the future. Betty White is 96 years old today. So
I know. Eileen had one of those heart attack moments. Betty White's trending. Oh, it's because it's her birthday.
Right, exactly. Oh, jeez. I hate that.
I know. She's the goldenest of the golden girls.
Well,
She needs
at least she wasn't sexually harassing somebody.
No, yeah. Although I bet she could tell some stories. But anyway, yes. There you go, everybody. If your YouTube stuff might be in jeopardy, you may want to go look at your email and see if you've been tagged as somebody who's not quite up to the new snuff. This
You're in good company because I'm not either.
Yeah, I bet I'm not either, but I don't know because something's jacked with my account. I have to go look at it. Hey, the later today, that and more will be discussed on the Daily Tech News Show with me and Tom and Sarah and Roger, and it'll be very exciting and great. I'm excited to return after your trip to Vegas and discuss all else that'll be happening in the world. Tom, is there anything else you can tell us?
Yes, I mentioned this on Cord Killers this week, but my book out, Bavaria. If you haven't got a copy, go buy one. It's really good. It's really fun. I enjoyed writing it, and a lot of people say they enjoy reading it. If you have bought it, please review it on Amazon. That helps other people discover it. But also, the official audiobook has been submitted. So fingers crossed, I did it all right, and it'll show up in Audible within the next couple of months.
Ooh, very nice. And you voiced it, so if you want to hear Tom's silky smooth, sexy voice. I put sexy in there hesitantly, and not because you're not sexy. I just didn't know.
He just doesn't want to get slapped with a lawsuit.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble.
Did you say saxy, like a saxophone? Is that what you
Yes, let's go with that. I said saxy. That's what I said. All right, well, you're a jazz fan. You love the 40s. It all makes sense now. Hey, be back here on the internet at 2:30 Mountain Time for the Daily Tech News Show. Tom Merritt, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.
See you, Tom.
Bye. All right. All right, should we see if Nicole is available and wants to be on?
Let us see if Nicole is available.
I'll bet she is and will be and wants to be. I bet all these things are true.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out right along with you right now. Hey, look, everybody, it's Nicole Spag all the way from the same place Brian's in.
Yay! Oh my God, I wanted to be on that segment with Tom so bad.
Oh, right. Tell why. What's up with your YouTube deal? You guys had to kick against the problems as well? Because I've had all kinds.
No.
Oh, good.
We haven't had any problems. We hit the stuff, but I'm laughing at most reactions because they're like, "Oh, YouTube." I'm like, dude, you're their product.
Yeah.
You are not their customer.
Right. Right.
The advertisers are their customers.
Sure.
And
but also you gotta look at it this way. If you screw with your product too much, your product is gonna get pissed and
Gonna up and go to Twitch.
Go somewhere else.
Well, no. Have you heard the news that Amazon registered 2 domains, one called Amazon Tube and one called OpenTube?
Yeah, but I don't think
They're opening the door for Amazon and Facebook to come in, which I think is great.
Well, no, it's great for everybody. Like that's actually a good thing. I totally agree with that. But I think YouTube needs to be careful. Like any company and or entity that is basically a monopoly, and they are basically that.
They're huge. Yeah.
They're enormous. They're the big thing in town. So I just think you can't treat people too shitty, or else,
But here's the other thing. If these people are relying on this money as their livelihood and they've put all their eggs in a YouTube basket, we need to talk about business, people.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different thing, and I completely agree with that. Yeah, don't tie all your wagons to one hitch, because
you build your business on somebody else's property. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm sure that their colleagues of Mark's, other woodworkers, have YouTube stuff that's like doesn't have the reach and the audience that you guys do, that are probably like freaking out about.
Probably a little bummed out. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what my current status is because I'm dumb, but I know this affects some people. Regardless,
I know it doesn't affect me.
all they did was raise their bar, and now everyone has to get to that bar if they want to do it.
I think it's good. I mean, I think it's a good thing to do because there's so much crap on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
As just a parent trying to get through and find decent videos for kids without it recommending horrible videos. I mean, that alone, I don't
Well,
You think not having the money will chase off some of that crap, or is it just going to be crap that now just doesn't make any money from their crap?
Well, I know people steal our videos and they throw them up there and they monetize them, and
I don't know how
the-
that's going to change though, because some of those people are plenty at the level they need to be to keep doing that horrible practice. I mean, that some of that stuff needs to come from YouTube themselves. They need to fix some of that on
Well,
the
no,
system side.
it needs to come from the creators, because once we get involved, like, we're aware of it. And we had somebody chop up a bunch of our videos and like water stamp it, and so we were like, boom, and their channel was taken down.
Yeah,
So
you do have to be reactive. You're right. That's true. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But I guess if you're a 20-year-old kid who's doing pranking videos and making $65,000 a month, which isn't unheard of. And suddenly YouTube cancels your channel. Well, goodbye, $65,000 a month. Like,
Right.
so
They're gonna make somebody mad no matter what they do.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter.
You
Well,
know?
you're totally right. I mean, they could just say, "Hey, we're deleting the kid video where the brother bites his finger and Charlie," and people would be
No
mad.
more Charlie bit me revenue. Oh no.
Yeah, but I guarantee people are gonna still put shit up there. Like if you're a garbage person and you have some dumb thing to say that's horrible, but it's technically within the rules and guidelines, they don't care if it's monetizable, and they're still gonna put it up. So I don't know how this actually slows that stuff down, but we'll see.
I just feel like they're trying to get ahead of it. I mean, they had some big advertisers that really kind of clamped down hard on them, and they're saying, "Okay, we've got to do something. What do we do?"
Yep.
So I
Yep.
think this is probably the first step in many steps that they're trying to get a handle on this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, people getting their panties up in the bunch.
I've had a conversation with an ex-Apple guy who believes that the reason Apple has never fully taken control when they could have, I don't think the genie's out of the bottle now, so there's not much they could do. But back in the day when kind of iTunes and Apple were your place for podcasts, and that was really your only way, and it was the best way, and that's that was the thing.
You did it because you were passionate about it.
Yeah, you did it because
You
you
didn't
were
do it
passionate
for
about it.
money. You
But-
did it because you were passionate
But right,
about it.
but a lot of people think the reason Apple didn't take charge of all of that and do anything more than just create a directory, because that's all they did, is because they did not want to be a platform and deal with these kinds of platform headaches. Like, I don't know if he's right, but that's what he thinks.
Seems believable for
yeah.
sure.
Anyway, hey, it's recommendals.
Hey, sorry.
No,
I
it's
just
all
had
good.
to- I was like, oh my god.
It's all go. We're going to talk about stuff we've seen on streaming services, recommend them for you fine folks at home. Once in a while, we'll see one that's terrible and we'll recommend not seeing it, but that hasn't happened for a while. We'll begin with Brian, who gave me a clip to play. Brian, is there any setup here for this?
No, the clip pretty much sets itself up beautifully.
All right, I like that. Let me play it. Here you go.
Oh, rockumentaries. I really dislike them. They get these old farts waffling. Oh, the amount of drugs we took on the road. Oh, the amount of women we shagged. Oh, it's great, wasn't it? It's just a long procession of talking heads. Oh, I used to be their roadie. Oh, I used to live next door to the bass player's
Ain't
cousin.
that the truth,
They
man?
always have that lugubrious keyboard player from that prog rock group.
Oh yeah, XTC. I remember XTC.
Don't you dare have him in this documentary. It's always the same faces. It's always the same tales. It never has a good ending. They always fall out with each other. They're always suing each other. One of them dies, or two of them dies, or they all die. And they all can't stand the sight of each other anymore. Stop!
What is this? Sounds great.
Yes, it does.
It sounds like it would be a spoof documentary like Spinal Tap.
It does. It sounds like a rockumentary, but it's really just a rockumentary. And they even said the name of the band they're talking about in there. It is XTC, a brand new, like it's just landed on demand yesterday on Showtime demand. So if you still have your Showtime subscription because you forgot to cancel it after Twin Peaks, or maybe you're a Ray Donovan
Yep.
fan, or maybe like me, you're a Shameless fan, and you're still subscribing to it. Then you
Oh,
can,
are these the
watch
Dear
this.
God people that, Dear God, hope you get my letter in? That's them?
Yeah, that's Andy Partridge talking. He's the lead singer. You absolutely know XTC.
I do?
Yes. Oh yeah. When we're done here, just play a little go to Apple Music or Spotify or Pandora and search for a little XTC. Making Plans for Nigel.
I'll just go to YouTube.
And you go to YouTube. There you go. Mayor of Simpleton. Census working overtime.
I'll bet she knows this one. Let me just play the first tiny bit. Okay, it's almost there.
Good Lord, thank you for playing a fucking intro song.
You've heard that.
Yeah.
I guess, but not.
Yeah.
Is that the original
That's
version?
XTC. Yeah, that's the original version. The beginning of the song has a kid vocalist, and then it goes into Andrew Partridge vocals, who's the guy you heard talking about there.
Oh, that was him.
One of the most sarcastic people you'll ever hear in British New Wave.
Sweet. I love it.
He's brilliant. He suffers from synesthesia, which is where you confuse colors and notes, and and he even does an example of it during the documentary where he makes up a chord that he's never played before, he says, and then starts writing music and describes what he's actually hearing when he hears those chords and seeing visually when he hears those chords.
Yeah, it's when you see. It's some people. Well, it's like a color is a sound to you, or a smell is a color, or like there's different versions of this I've heard of before. But that fascinates me.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it is a really, really good documentary. It's only 75 minutes long. It's a really quick watch, but it is it's super cool. And you do have your collection of talking heads, but they intersperse it with so much cool animation and this really amazing and elaborate model train setup, which has the band on it, and they make it look like all the people who are talking are on the train. They get Todd Rundgren, they get Harry Shearer from The Simpsons. He's talking about XTC. It's one of his favorite bands, if not his favorite band. A guy from Blondie, all talking about it. It's really, really cool. Again, it's called XTC This Is Pop, and it just started streaming on Showtime.
I'm into that.
Cool.
I'll watch that. That
I
sounds
think
great.
For you cheapskates out there, I think the whole thing is available on YouTube, because when I was looking for a clip to play, I found the whole thing on YouTube.
You found the whole thing? Well, it's probably legally there, or else it'd be gone, wouldn't it? They usually get rid of that stuff.
That's not the case. They do some weird audio
Speeding up,
warping.
What's it
to
called
it.
again? XTC what?
XTC This Is Pop, and there's a song. They do a music video, and they have a song called This Is Pop as well. So you want to look for This Is Pop documentary.
Oh, here it is. I found it. Yeah, and it's some Japanese post.
Some might have subtitles or something like that. But,
Sure.
Oh, it's great. And boy, you start listening to the music they're playing in the background and the video clips they're showing, like, oh God, I love all these songs. They're so great.
All right. I'm going to have to go on a little XTC binge today, too, on
I
music.
think you should. You totally should.
Been a while. All right. Well, here is my recommendation, and it is Brian and I must have been syncing our menses because I got into some documentary as well, and here's what I saw.
I didn't think of Evel Knievel as a daredevil. I thought of him as a superhero. No one ever went for it like that before. I grew up in the 70s.
There was a certain cynicism throughout the country. Society was changing.
I guess we were looking for some sort of a hero.
It was an amazing time.
Evel was on top of the world.
He's probably the only man in history who's become very wealthy by trying to kill himself.
In the span of 7 years, he became one of the most famous people in the world.
Some people just can't handle that thing.
All right.
Evel Knievel.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's called Being Evil is the name of it.
Did Super Dave Osborne? Was he like the result of Evel Knievel?
Yeah,
Like
so
a parody of Evel
yeah,
Knievel.
damn it.
Right.
Super Dave was a parody. The guy who plays Super Dave, forget his name.
It's
He's on,
Funkhauser.
Yeah,
yes, he's on
Kirk
Curb.
Hughes.
he's so good on there. And he was. I just watched his walking.
Thank you.
Cars and comedians
Jesus.
getting coffee or whatever it is. I just
Oh,
watched that
really?
episode.
Oh,
I
last
had
night.
to go
Oh,
fuck
very
myself
cool.
like
Forgot
that.
his name. Anyway,
Cars getting coffee.
he's been doing stuff forever since like Laugh-In and like Liberace television specials and stuff. That guy's been around forever. But anyway,
Yeah.
he was always doing a parody of it. This thing is from the producers, most notably of it's Johnny Knoxville and Jeff Tremaine, who have been partners since the original Jackass series, producers and directors of that. They did Jackass together, of course. They did the Jackass movies, and then they've done other sort of side documentaries, as well as they produced that Nitro Circus show that was popular, and they had a movie for that as well. Anyway, this is tons of Knoxville. He's all up in this, talking about it, because I guess Evel Knievel was like his main reason for living for a long time.
Yeah, seems like he'd be an influence for sure.
And what he opens the whole documentary with this really interesting kind of monologue about how he just worshipped this guy for so long, and then when he finally now kind of post Jackass was like, I really should do something with Jeff. We'll come up with an idea. We'll do some documentary stuff. He says, I never really looked at his personal life until now. And he goes, oh, there's some ugly stuff in there. Like, he's like, this is a very complicated story. He said things like he was an amazing man, but he was a son of a bitch. And he just all this kind of prequel stuff. And then they get into the documentary and lay it out, and they talk about his fame and what he did and the whole Vegas jump that just about killed him, and his son doing it later. And they interviewed his kids and his ex-wife and all these people that are in his life, and follow him pretty much from his fame all the way to his death, and what kind of made him fall away. He made more money from toys than he did anything, and then when the toys got taken away, he went broke and lost his house and everything else. So there's all this like up and down stuff. It's called Being Evil, except it's spelled E-V-E-L. And if
Where's
you,
it playing?
it's Amazon Prime, Hulu. Hold on. Yeah, Hulu.
Just
Sorry.
gonna push them all together eventually. There'll just be a Hulu.
Sorry, it's
Amazon
absolutely
Prime.
It's definitely Hulu. Sorry, I screwed that up. It's great. I loved every second of it. And here's the thing: I think that these guys as producing partners make really good documentaries. I loved, and I recommended on the show before, the what's it called? Crap! The Fantastic Whites of West
Oh yeah, the whites of
Virginia. Oh, I can't. Oh, the Fantastic Whites of West, or the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. Sorry.
That's it, yeah.
That was a documentary in 2009, again from Knoxville and Jeff Tremaine, and it's about these horrible freaking white trash, awful people that are kind of notorious in West Virginia, and they follow this family's life and kind of try to understand it, and you gain a little bit of insight as why they're kind of the way they are, and multiple generations and all this. That is a fantastic documentary. So as far as I'm concerned, Being Evil, which came out in 2015, whatever they're working on next, I'm all in. I think these guys have an eye for this stuff and are kind of a really special eye for it. But in particular, this really gets behind the ideas of like Evel Knievel being the impetus or the seed for what would become extreme sports. And Tony Hawk just couldn't stop talking about him in this documentary. And guys like that were just like, you know, there is no pro skater. There is no this stuff without Evel Knievel. Like, we don't have this world without the kind of stuff he was willing to do and the kind of daring, the kind of stuff he was, doing on TV in front of people. So anyway, can't recommend it enough. I really, really liked it. It's 2015's Being Evil on Hulu. Get it now. All right, Nicole, what'd you bring?
Here's my clip, Scott.
Okay.
I just sent it to you through Discord.
All right. I don't see it. Oh, you sent it to me separately. Hold on. Not in the group. Hold on. Okay, I'm playing it now. Here we go, everybody. Listen to this.
Well, have you found my daughter?
Weird. Oh.
You are alive! I don't know who you are, but we don't use weed killer around here.
What? This.
So this looks like Ponyo to me.
It is Ponyo.
Ah.
It's streaming on Stars, and I was searching. So they took the YouTube app off of Amazon, which I kind of was really happy about because all my kid wants to do is watch opening toy videos on there.
Right.
So we were just looking around, and my father-in-law accidentally bought a Star subscription over the holidays.
Accidentally? I love it.
Yeah, it was just he's legally blind, and he was just on the TV, and I was like, and I get a notification, I'm like, oh, I guess I get Stars for a month. So it's on Stars streaming through. We watched it through Amazon Fire TV. I had never seen this movie, and so Mateo and I sat down and started watching it, and it's such a sweet movie.
Yeah, it's really
so
good.
Cute. You heard Liam Neeson.
Yeah, I love that.
Getting him taken like
did.
On my daughter.
Yeah. Now I've got a very special set of skills I expected.
And I didn't know how Mateo would like it because it's, old school cartoon. He's kind of been introduced to just how the new artwork is. And so this is I don't even know when it was
Well, it's
made.
not that old. It's like 2008.
2008, 2009.
Yeah, it's not too long.
But it looks kind of old, doesn't it?
Well, it's just that Studio Ghibli thing.
Yeah.
All their stuff looks like this. So like Howl's Moving Castle and the other one where the guy throws up furniture. I can't think of the name of it.
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, that one.
Spirited Away.
Those are all very in that vein. It's very Japanese, all that stuff. But.
So a little boy finds a goldfish with a human face. Is
Yeah.
the premise of this thing.
Yeah.
And the friendship that forms between, and the little boy's 5. So I think Mateo kind of identified, and he just really loved the ocean scenes, and he just loved the adventure of it. It was just really kind of awesome to watch it and see his reaction to it. Such a sweet little film. A little weird, but that's okay. But
I like weird.
I loved it. Yeah. Have either of you seen this?
I have seen it and loved it.
I think I have, but I'm not 100% sure. We've seen a lot of the studio Ghibli stuff, but I
Is it
don't know
Ghibli
if
or
we've-
Ghibli? I don't ever know if I'm saying it right.
It's funny because we even went to the damn museum in Tokyo, and I can't remember if it's Ghibli or Ghibli.
I don't. Someone in the chat will say I don't know, but I think Miyazaki is a genius.
Gifli, Studio Ghibli is what it is.
Gifli, yeah, that's perfect. Gifli.com. Go get your gifts. But he's amazing, and everything he makes is great. I wasn't that big of a fan of Spirited Away. I found it really long in parts, and that kind of put me off of it. But I thought Ponyo was really good. I like that Howl's Moving Castle business. I like a lot of what's happening there. And then I think that thing you went to with the room, Brian, recently, the Fathom event.
Oh yeah. There is a new one coming. Yes.
Yeah, and they had a recent retrospective to prepare for it, I guess, where they showed all the old stuff so many weeks in a row or something, so you could go to one of these Fathom things and see all the old Miyazakis, and then this new one, I guess he's working on now. And he came out of retirement to do it because he was supposed to be retired. He was like done.
All right, I know.
He's like, nope, I've got one more secret ingredient. Is what he said. He didn't really say that. Anyway, Ponyo, that's great, and it's Netflix. It's on Netflix. It says. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
No,
You're
it's
right.
on Stars.
You're right.
Yeah, you can do like a 7-day trial Star streaming. It just seems like one of those movies. I'm like, why haven't I watched this yet? So we sat down and watched it, and it was really adorable and moving. And though there are questions that I have at the ending, I'm like, okay, the boy's 5. So if you've ever seen the movie, you're like,
I think there's a lot of stuff like that.
I'm a little confused, but I'm just gonna go with it because it was a sweet little film.
All right.
But yeah.
I'm in. I think it sounds great.
And I'll give a bonus recommendal. Last night, I think because we watched Ponyo, Amazon recommended. Mateo loves watching other people play video games.
Okay.
Loves it. And it can be hard to find kid-friendly playthroughs.
Oh, for sure.
Ooh, let's watch this playthrough of Resident Evil 7.
Well, even then, not even that. It's just the people playing them are sometimes just such dicks and rotten
Well,
mouths
and then the
everything.
language. Excuse me, Scott.
Yeah.
The language. So.
I just, as long as Mateo's not into TMS, he'll be fine.
But he found a streamer, and he has a YouTube channel, but he's also uploaded almost all of his videos to Amazon, and it's called Zebra Gamer. And he does walkthroughs of a lot of Mario games, and it's just one guy, and he's really good at playing through and talking, and Mateo's laughing, and I just want to throw that out if you have a kid and you're looking for something kind of family friendly. The Zebra Gamer plays some really fun games, and the kids and Mateo especially loves it. So I actually enjoy it too. So I sit down and watch it together. So
all right.
it's a ton of stuff on Amazon right now by him. So I thought I'd throw it out.
There you go. I like
I'm very happy to find it.
Yeah. No kidding. I look what Amazon's doing in general. By the way, I started watching that fantastic, what's it called? Amazing Maisel or whatever, Miss Maisel.
Oh, yeah, right.
The thing that won the Golden Globe actress and show, drama, comedy, musical thing. Anyway, Kim and I watched the first episode. It's freaking awesome. It's great.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah, it's, I'm not going to say I was a Gilmore Girls fan, because that's this creator's previous work. I wasn't super into that, but what I did like about about Gilmore Girls at its prime was this just snappy, really witty, smart dialogue that was always going on. You know, it was just always just bam, 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 and Lorelai would say this, and Rory would reply with this, and it was just, it always felt so, almost like there's no way these people would ever be real, but I love listening to them talk. It's kind of like a Tarantino movie in a weird way. I just like the language of it, right? It's just like bam, bam, bam. That's something I always appreciate about I keep saying Golden Girls.
Golden Girls.
The Gilmore Girls.
You really like that Rose.
Yes, but this is that Amy Sherman Palladino lady who was, quite frankly, was annoying at the Globes, but whatever. I don't care about that. The actual show is super snappy that way. It's set in the 50s, and I think it's really well done. So
I made you a nice brisket.
yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. The brisket thing really goes places.
I watched the first episode.
It was great. Wasn't it great? I loved it. It was great. So I'm going to go back, watch all the rest of the 7 episodes that are left, and I'll report back. Maybe that's my recommendal next week, but it's really good.
Go.
Nicole Spagnolo, everybody. Nicole Spag on
me.
Twitter. It's a me. Follow her, and she'll say things on Twitter at Nicole Spag.
Yeah, I'm gonna put pretty much everything we talked about up.
Very nice. Pretty much, though. Not everything.
Pretty
just
much.
Pretty much.
All right, well, take it easy. Be good. Be safe. Brian, we should see if Daryl's for real, or has he texted anything recently about it?
He hasn't. So yeah, let's give him a shot. He's right now scrambling to get to an outside door.
Is that what's happening? Okay.
I'm sure that's the case.
Sure. Okay. Well, we'll give this a shot. And if it works, hey. What else can you ask for in your life?
I see Spinny. That's always a good sign.
Spinny is good. Hey, Daryl, can you hear us? Daryl.
Can kind of hear him breathing.
Oh, Daryl, are you there?
I'm hearing noises.
Can you hear us? It's really bad internet at work, basically, is what's going on. Hello, Daryl? No?
Oh, he's whacking the side of his phone to see if that'll help it.
Daryl, are you there? Daryl, hello? I hear him shutting a door. Hello? That's the worst thing ever. It's so bad. Daryl? All right.
Oh, barely.
Are you here? Oh, can you hear us then?
I think he's answering a question from like 2 minutes ago.
I barely hear you.
Okay. So is it like you're getting like crusty, like bad connection?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. Can you? Oh, he's gone. I don't think it's gonna work.
Nope. We'll figure something out.
We'll try something else on Monday. I think he just needs to talk to the powers that be and give him some damn internet there. They don't let the people have Wi-Fi because of the high security stuff he was saying.
Yeah.
So he's got to talk to those people.
Because of things like this.
Probably. All right, couple more things real quick. I'm going to read this email, and then Brian and I are going to test something. Chest something? We're going to chest something.
We're going to chest something.
Monica Warble sent me a message that says, I saw this and my husband, an avid listener, thought it would be perfect for the show. So it's basically this historical words we need to bring back into the common lexicon. And I just want to name a couple of these because they're fantastic. Okay?
Okay.
Fudgel. Pretending to work while actually doing nothing. That's from the 18th century.
Fudgel?
Uh-huh, fudgel.
Fudgel, okay.
Croak. Sorry, groak. G-R-O-K-E, groak. Someone who stares at you while you eat, hoping you share.
Isn't it like sniglets?
Yeah, this is from an old Scots language thing from back in the 1300s. Chivinous. The uncomfortable feeling of wearing new underwear. It was from Old English times.
Oh, I love this.
Chivinous. Peg puff. A young woman with the manners of an old one. Dysania. Extremely difficult getting out of bed in the morning. I think my son has that. Perendient. Perendionate. Perendinate. Put off until the day after tomorrow. So it's not
even like putting off till tomorrow. This is worse than procrastinate. You're perendinating.
Yeah. Every other day.
Yeah.
Cacistrus. Sorry. How would you say that? Cacistrus.
Cacistocracy.
Cacistocracy. That's a horrible word. Government by the least qualified or worst people. Let's see. I'm going to skip ahead to ambiguration. Abligurition. Spending lavish amounts of money on food. It's from the 17th century. Here's my favorite, slug-a-bed. A person who stays in bed after the usual or proper time to get up. Slug-a-bed.
It sounds like Mr. Burns would use that one. Get up, you slug-a-bed.
Slug-a-bed. Totally. Croofling, to lie wrapped up and in a comfortable manner. Philo-globalized, having a hangover but without admitting to actually drinking.
I like that.
How about this one? Snollygoster. From the 19th century. A shrewd, unprincipled person, especially a politician. Snollygoster.
Snollygoster. That's another one I could see people using today. Like, that's hilarious.
Yep. Twatling. Gossiping idly about unimportant things. Twatling. So us, we're like twatlings.
Twaddling.
Yep,
Yeah.
Totally.
Twaddlers.
How about this one? Here's you could say this about me. Galapician. Or Galapician.
I thought you could do the one right above it.
Oh, what's that one? Ultra-crepidarian. Somebody who gives opinions on subjects they know nothing about. You could say that about me. But you could also say Galapician.
Calipigian.
Having beautiful, well-shaped buttocks. That's me.
Beautiful and well-shaped.
Yeah. And finally...
Brown's a shape.
Yeah, you're totally right. Here's finally the one. Frobly Mobley. And the definition from this 18th century phrase, neither well nor unwell.
Nice. How you feeling?
Took plums and left plums.
No, you're supposed to say, I'm saying how you feeling. You're supposed
I'm
to
a
say
little Frobly
Frobly
Mobley.
Mobley.
Yeah, but I think that's a person, right? Or is that what you say is your state?
I think it's your state.
Oh.
I'm neither well nor unwell. I'm Frobly Mobley.
Okay, I'm Frobly Mobley. Sounds like you're trying to say probably something, but that you're drunk or something and you're slurring.
Yeah,
your
Frobly
words.
Mobley.
All right, well, there you go. Brian, don't ever get a feeling of cacotheus, irresistible urge to do something inadvisable.
Ooh, Cacoethus. Yeah, that's
handful of
his whole YouTube channel.
Not Aaron Paul. Ron Paul, not Ron Paul.
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. Who's Ron Paul? Oh, he's the politician.
Yeah, libertarian.
Yeah. And then isn't there a guy that sells you the Mr. Microphone? What's his name?
That's Popeil. Ron Popeil.
Oh, Ron Popeil. He's dead, right?
Ron Popal III is
Ron
writing all
Popeil. Can I just quickly see if he's alive? Just want to see.
Sure.
He's alive. He's 82 years old.
It's because he's walking around with a pocket fisherman, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Still walk. Is that a pocket fisherman in your pocket, or are you Ron Popeil?
Hey, good looking. We'll see you after the game, he'd say. All right, well, there's that guy. Moving on to this Japan food. So we haven't done this in a while. I forgot the protocol here. I guess we should say who sent it. Brian, who sent it to us?
This is sent to us by Michael from Ypsilanti, Michigan. We don't have time. It's 11:15 or 12:15 here. You don't
want to try it? You want
to
to
have time? Yeah, we got.
We could eat it tomorrow if you want.
No, let's do it. Let's get this.
Do you want to do the thick and liquid to get it out of the way, or do you want? Okay.
Yes, I'm totally going to do the thick and liquid.
All right.
I don't know what flavor this is.
Here.
Watch a foodie.
There's our theme.
Oh, good. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So here you see these thick and liquid.
Just as a quick thing to people, hey, don't forget, you can also send us things that we'll enjoy eating.
Who knows? Listen, there is a temptation that I understand when you find something that would be considered thick and liquid that you want Brian to try it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get the temptation.
This has no explanation about what flavor.
Well, it does, but it's all Japanese.
Looks like it's cinnamon sticks and honey on mine. Do you have tubs of goo as well?
I do. One of mine looks like hazelnuts, and the other and the other one looks like coffee and a little something. So which do you trust the most?
Well, so you didn't get the one that I've got, which is cinnamon honey.
God damn it!
Unless this is honey. No, mine's got like a little fuzz ball.
Oh yeah, I've got those two with hazelnuts and stuff.
Okay, so here are the two I have. I have that.
All right, are you gonna do one too?
Yeah, I'll do one. Oh, there are
All
three.
right.
You're right. There's the third one over here, and that's the same as you. So you decide
Let's
which
do that one since I've already taken that out of its protective polystyrene.
That's the one with the two the cinnamon sticks.
Yeah, 2 cinnamon sticks and honey.
Okay, here we go.
Against my better judgment, I'm taking Oh, good Lord, this is like... This looks like I'm about to put my teeth in it to make an impression at the doctor's office. This isn't even liquid.
Oh my gosh, dude. What is this?
So slow moving.
Look, you guys, like gelatinous. This is all from Japan.
I don't have anything to eat this with because I don't think I can just slurp it up like a vodka shot, like a Jello shot.
It smells like paste.
Kind of looks like it too.
Smell that. You smell that?
Yes. Oh, I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I wouldn't have done it a second time too.
All right, I'm just gonna teeth it. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I guess I gotta teeth it as well. All
There
right,
we go. There we go.
Oh, check the expiration date. People are saying.
Oh yeah.
It's maybe not. Well, we can't read the expiration date.
Yeah, I can't tell what it
numbers
is.
Are gonna be. Numbers are gonna be. Oh, it might be on the bottom. Which.
Hold on. Oh my Lord! It's all Japanese.
2017 12/23. It's less than a month past its
Yeah,
prime.
we're fine.
We're fine. All right, let's.
It doesn't smell rotten, so here goes. It smells like paint.
Here we go. Oh.
Oh, I don't like it. I mean, the flavor's okay.
Uh-huh.
The texture and the style. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, if I pretend it's
No, it's got a really bad aftertaste.
if I pretend it's butter,
Yeah, it's like butter. It's like
melty butter.
No, I don't like it. Nope. Nope. That's not good.
Yeah.
Oh, if I'd have had to eat a whole spoonful of that, I may have gagged. I don't like it. I'm with Brian on this one. These
Thank
other
you,
two,
Michael.
these other two are more juicy looking, so we'll try those.
Oh, are they runnier?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
seems like.
I'm gonna put them in the fridge. I might.
I'll do the same, and then we have these other treats. We'll do these a little bit over time, but thank you. It's fun to have some weird stuff to eat. We'll do more of those. Maybe even tomorrow we'll do one of those. So looking forward to that. All right, well that takes care of.
What's a foodie?
That takes care of what's a foodie. Brian, we.
I'm sealing this guy up.
We should tell people again about Jupiter Jet and why it's rad.
Yes, so the folks behind Red Shirt Diary, Lee Robinson and Jason Inman, have just released issue 2 of Jupiter Jet. Just came out, and again, it's fantastic. I love the art. The art is so
good.
It reminds me of Jay. Oh, who's the image artist? J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah, J. Scott Campbell is a
That's
very
what I'm
good
thinking of.
comparison. Sure.
Really, really good stuff. Oh, the cat's looking. The cat is eyeing the thickened liquid. No, cat, no.
I would say J. Scott Campbell without the focus on over sexy.
Yes,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean?
It's way more kid friendly, like very kid friendly, about a couple of adolescents. One of them's a tinkerer. Actually, I think they're both tinkerers, and kind of has some Rocketeer aspects. I love it. It's just so cool.
It's really good. Totally
And,
worth checking out. And that's out now, right?
It's out now. Issue 2 just came out now, so go look for it where you buy comic books. Go buy the actual comic book and help support Ashley Robinson and Jason Inman because they are awesome people and deserve your attention.
I completely agree. Details.
And they're part of the whole Major Spoilers family, too.
They are, and there's a big preview up on Major Spoilers right now for Jupiter Jet number 2. In fact, if you Google it, it's like one of the first things that comes up. So go read that and check it out. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all for being here. It's been a grand time. Tomorrow we'll be back. We'll have Wendy. We'll have that whole business. So don't know what that looks like yet, except something will happen. So come back for that. I feel like the time is flying by so weird. Didn't we just have a Thursday? Seriously.
I know. Now we got yet another Thursday. We were just talking about the stuff with Wendy last week. What was it?
I know.
It seems like yesterday, but I forgot what we talked about.
I can't remember it either. I'm sure it was good. It was mixed family stuff. That's what it was. Brady Bunch.
That's right. Yes. Right.
So tomorrow, who knows? We'll let you guys know. If you'd like to support the show, patreon.com/TMS.
Oh, shit,
You
dude.
can find us on the web at frogpants.com/TMS. There are links to that and everything else there. And why not remind you how you can email us, themorningstream@gmail.com, or follow us on Twitter, or Coverville, Scott Johnson Morning Stream. Again, Coverville today, 1 o'clock. Coverville.com/live.
And then right after Coverville, go listen to DTNS with Scott and Tom.
Yeah, a little news stuff going on there.
A little music, a little news. Your afternoon is set.
That was horrible. I'll never eat that again.
Nope.
I still taste it.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't like it.
Trying to wash it down with coughing. It isn't disappearing.
Water's not doing it either. All right.
Clone Hot Dog says, I hope you enjoy the more liquidy ones. Oh, I'm sure we will.
Well, we appreciate you sending them. All right, we're going to take our leave. Do you have some music here at the end?
I do, and I believe this comes to us from the MacCast's Adam Christensen. I believe that's, unless we have another Adam Christensen in our audience. He says, Brian, not sure if this is something you can play, but I happen to be a big Billy Joel fan. When I ran across this version of the song For the Longest Time by a Norwegian a cappella group, I was fascinated not only because I'm a Billy Joel fan, but also because of my Scandinavian ancestry. I'm half Norwegian and a quarter Swedish. Anyway, I think it's fun to cover the original, and if you can play it, I think it'd be great. As an alternative, there's a couple other versions, a couple other songs they do. He also threw out a Panic at the Disco cover of Moving Out Anthony. But I'm actually going.
What's up, dude? Yeah, how's everything going over there? Looks like y'all are having some fun today. All right, I am. I think that's a great language to learn. Maybe the best language to possibly learn in today's workaday world. I certainly have enjoyed writing it. It's an active community. Have you been, what kind of stuff have you been learning about JavaScript? Come on. I'm just playing terrible right now. And I guess I'm just tired. I really don't know what it is. I just haven't got any energy. Come on, thank you. Yes, Visual Studio Code is certainly a popular one, and I have a couple of workmates who I write in Emacs all day long. There's a lot of reasons for that, and it's just kind of one of those things. It's hard to leave, but there's a lot of. It's not perfect either, man. It is nowhere near a perfect editor, but it's just I use org mode, and a lot of my life revolves around Emacs, and it's certainly not a bad editor at all. Yeah, this playlist is fucking shit. Good lord. Anyway, no, what I was saying was that I hope my levels are better, but I didn't. I hear there's all kinds of features in Visual Studio Code and Sublime and all these other editors that that are not as good in Emacs. I can get it to work, but it's still kind of hacky. But I just it's really hard for me to leave the. There's just I don't know. There's so much I can do in Emacs that I don't even have to think about anymore. And it's like learning a new keyboard or something. I mean, there may be keystroke, patterns in these other ones that I'd be better at doing, but at this point it's just kind of like, man, I just don't want to relearn it. Emacs, I don't have to think about it. I'm really efficient with it. It's good enough, but it's got problems. That said, Emacs is, it does have some things that other editors don't have, so I don't want to make it out like it's that bad. I would never tell anybody to learn Emacs as their first editor, though, or any editor. I just wouldn't recommend it to anybody at this point. I mean, it really. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that Visual Studio Code is where everybody's is like the thing that everybody's going to, and that says to me a lot about what Microsoft is. But it is definitely the case that it's got some crazy cool features that I keep on hearing people talking about in work, and it's, it's like just the right amount of lightweightness as well as having nifty sort of IDE contextual, not just syntax highlighting, but syntax completion and all that stuff. And when that comes to JavaScript, that's stuff that is pretty new. JavaScript in general hasn't had a great editor experience until pretty recently. So, and Visual Studio Code is really heading up a lot of that. I'm sure that, a lot of it is people who kind of like me, they just have something that they've gotten so used to doing. You learn a set of, like Vim is the same way. There's nothing else that has anywhere near the same thing. It's not about it being better, it's just the same way of interacting with it. And so once you memorize that to where you don't even have to think about it anymore, it's just not worth leaving. About to be 40, yeah. I know. Fucking old. Brackets.io, I know. I guess that's what it is. Brackets.io. And there was like, I don't know what the big. Brackets.io. Modern open source editor that understands web design. Yeah, it looks pretty neat. I thought it was kind of like it supported being able to edit within there. The web thing, and there's other ones. There's all kinds of them. Yep, that's one of the big things about Vim and Emacs. They're on any system, so if you remote shell into something, for the most part, Emacs is not that way, but Vim, you can just type Vim on any console. It's going to work. VI works on any console. And so that's a good reason to know it. But that's true about VI really more than it is Emacs, because I get on systems all the time that don't have Emacs installed. It's not true of VI. Org mode is nice. That's a feature of Emacs. It's not a feature, it's a package that you can get for Emacs. And it's for useful for tracking tasks and agendas and to-dos and making project estimates and stuff like that. Doesn't have anything to do with the text editor. But I think it is probably the best example of what an Emacs user likes about Emacs, which is just that it's more than a text editor for sure. It's got just a whole package manager and Emacs and often that's what's like criticized about it, is it just does too much. You know, it doesn't follow the Unix philosophy at all of having just doing one thing right. It does so many things and not any of them perfect. But the other thing that's kind of a mind fuck is that it's whenever it starts up the environment, it loads up. I mean, there's a very small, tiny core that is built in C, and everything else is built in a programming language called Emacs Lisp. And you can change the behavior of your environment by running a few Emacs Lisp commands, and certainly true that that's no small thing to learn. It's a huge learning curve, but once you know it, and you know quite a few, enough about the editor to be able to get around a little bit with it, you can really make it cater it to exactly the kind of needs that you want. And that's another thing. I have startup commands in my Emacs config that I've built up over the past decade, and you know, nobody else could use my Emacs probably because it's just built just for me. And that's another reason why it's hard to leave it. Come on, yes. All right, yes. Whew. Tetris God smiled upon me with that one. Now, give it to me. Whew. Oh dear. Very nice, very nice. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. God damn it. Okay, it's already PB territory. Just give me what I need and get over 500, boy. Woo! Don't get any better than that. Come on. Come on. No! Ah! Yeah, dude, if I'd have got another Tetris, that would have been 550. That's still fucking, that was a good ass game right there, man. That's my best game ever. That's my best game ever. Yes. Look at that. That's beauty. Beauty is truth and truth beauty. That's all you need to know. I guess, yeah. There's just a lot of fads out there, dude. There's something, you know what it means to be a hipster? That's the same thing in programming. There's hipster fads in programming too. Fact is, at one time or another, I'm sure Emacs has been one, but I don't think Sublime or Visual Studio Code or any of that's a fad. Those are good editors. It is true, yeah. I watch a lot of fads go by and I just kind of do my thing. I mean, I've been in the business for a decade. What do you expect? Man, that's a good-ass game. Gotta know when to burn on this game. Burn means to quit stacking and do some dirty line clearing. I should have been more prepared for the switch to transition to level 19 earlier. And been prepared to burn more. I didn't see it coming. I don't want to say that I don't like new stuff either with tech. I really do like learning a new language and being up. I mean, JavaScript itself, there's a lot that's really new, and I've learned a lot in the past 4 years. It's just changed very quickly. And I've really enjoyed learning about it. But at the same time, the text editor you use, it just doesn't matter. You know, do what you want. It's not going to change your output that much. Once you've got a text editor that you're used to, that's a very personal thing. And it's not like you're going to leave your text editor that you spent all them years drilling into your reptile brain just because of some mini-map feature like what Sublime's got or something. It's got to really have a serious change in how you do things to make it worth it. Whoops. Yeah. I suppose by yesterday you mean in high school, which seems like just yesterday. And yeah, time is flying, no doubt about it. I learn. I mean, I think that you're definitely not old. By most adults, you know, anybody. I would still say you're early in your career, and I am getting towards the end of the beginning of my career. But I know a lot of feelings I have now that I didn't have 10 years ago. One thing that I recognize is there's kids fresh out of college that I know are definitely you know that when I was right out of college, I thought I was just the smartest person on the planet. I shouldn't say, because some of them didn't go to college, but people who are like 23. And I can see people now who are just smarter or better in certain ways, and I would have never acknowledged or recognized that when I was their age. You just kind of start to get more Well, I can safely say I'm not playing like shit at the moment. That was not the best choice. That was a terrible choice. It's going to be the death of me, probably. Crap. Yeah, that's it. Well, that's to prove that is a big part of it. You get egotistical, but also just motivation is a big part of it. I mean, I'm not going to work as hard. I do work smarter and not harder. That is a fact. But there are some things that you really need to use intellectual effort to solve, no matter what age you are. And I think that I'm starting to want to do that less. But I'm definitely, no question, as just in terms of my career, a much more efficient developer than I was. I'm just, you know, I don't waste my time reinventing the wheel. That's the thing that you do whenever you're younger. You just try to, everything you want to write it from scratch. Now I tend to use a lot more stuff out there and I write less. So I can like, focus on what I need to, you know, what needs my intellectual efforts. level 19 soon and try to do some playing on level 19. Whoops. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. Get you some Gumby. Ah! Hey, Lord forbid you give me a blue one. God. Man, I'm jelly. I want some of that Gumby. I meant to make some here recently, and alas, I was too lazy. Yeah. Yeah, that's a long process too, isn't it? Step 1, microwave from Waldy. Step 2, eat the noodies. Yeah, there is a concept on Tetris, all flavors of Tetris, called DAS, Delayed Auto Shift, and it is, this game, it matters more than any other version of Tetris I've played. And I finally sat down in the past week and just started studying it and practicing it, and it's paid off, man. I mean, I stack a very clean stack. For somebody who, you know, I've been playing Tetris in general for a very long time, so the stack is pretty solid. I mean, it's not perfect. I'm sure pro players are better, but it's a very good stack. But nothing will make your game end more quickly on this game than failing to get, for example, an eyepiece all the way to the right hand side because you didn't charge up your DAS more quickly enough. Well, that ain't gonna last very long. Come on, yep. Man, I thought I was a goner there for a little while. Yeah, I'm gonna snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory here if I don't watch it. Nope. Yeah, this is not looking good. We got a freeze. I would not call it a snow, but there was 2 nights ago when I woke up the next morning, there were a lot of icicles and frozen water and general ice situation, but it wasn't snow. I saw what looked like it probably snowed on the dumpsters, similar to last time, but nothing near like what happened in parts of southeast Louisiana. Did you finish watching Stranger Things season 2, or did you watch season 1 or any of it? I finally got around to finishing season 2 last night. You finished them both. Yeah, it's a solid show. I really enjoyed it. I liked season 1 better, but I didn't think they'd be able to follow that up. Usually a first season or a first episode of something is hard to beat because they don't know if they're going to make a second season usually, and so it's usually tied up with a pretty bow as a self-contained story. But second season was kind of... Now it feels more like a thing that could go on forever. And you're just living in this world with... Yeah, it's kind of like Harry Potter. I could see them making 5 more seasons with these kids. And they're all going to grow up and, whatever. But I really liked the... I liked the soundtrack a lot by that band... starts with a V. It's an Austin electronic band. I really liked that. I liked the whole 80s pulp novel style with the font and all that. In general, they get major points for style in my book, even if the story was, something that could be forgettable. Star Wars is what? It's on your... Harry Potter is one of the only ones you can stomach compared to Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, I can't stomach most children's... Any kind of children's movie. It's just like, it's over the top with the whole drama. Star Wars is on your shit list? Well, I can kind of see that. I'll tell you something else I watched. In fact, you can go find this on YouTube right now. Very high quality version. The Room, which I have on DVD. They had an episode of Film Psych, of a podcast I listen to, where they go back and watch movies that are kind of maybe were pretty big in their heyday, but are not great films. Like Point Break. Anyway, The Room is just the #1 worst movie ever made on everybody's shit list. But it's so bad it's hilarious, and it's like enjoyable to watch because it's so cringy and bad. And I had a chance to watch it again the other night, and it really is just, you have to see it. The Room by Tommy Wiseau. I mean, I suggest you go seek it out just to see a little bit of it, but it is so bad. I mean, you'll know exactly what I mean as soon as you start watching it. It's so bad, dude. Ooh, that was a good move. Man, that was very nice. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, there were better choices. Mistakes were made. Right. Yeah, he finds out his gift is cheating. Yep, that's the one. But there's like just some. There's like one scene where there are a few scenes where he's got like some guy friends and they're all playing together, and you know, you can tell like the set was too small and they're kind of indoors in front of a green screen type thing, and they're throwing a football, but there's not enough room for them to throw the football, so it's just this moment, this like, you know, period of them quote unquote guys playing football together where they're just kind of throwing the football around each other in a circle. It's like some serious freaking it's so cheesy. Like there's one scene where, you know, they're all playing. I think the first scene where they're all playing like that, because there's a couple of them. They're all wearing tuxedos, and there's no reason for them to be wearing tuxedos. There's like no scene that follows that where they're. What else? Just terrible acting. I would not be surprised if the whole purpose of the film came from this guy, the director, having been rejected by a girl who just, you know, she broke up with him, she didn't love him anymore, whatever. And so this was his kind of way of getting back at her. And it just failed miserably. Whew. Yeah, I would think the Mighty Ducks is one that wouldn't have held up very well, and that. But then again, that's, you know, that's just like a kids movie, so I wouldn't expect it to be watchable. It's like, you know, the freaking little karate kids or whatever the fuck you call them, taekwondo kids. Now, The Sandlot, I would think, held up pretty well for some reason. I can't tell you. I need to watch it again, but that seems like that might be worth watching. Come on. Okay. And I'm still pretty pissed off, actually, that I got that. Didn't get a Tetris on that level 19. I could have crossed 550. Yes. Come on, yes.